There's been a lot of talk recently about digital currencies, and everyone's got their own ideas of how we should do it. I personally have been on television multiple times saying that the United States should and will digitize the US dollar. Now we have Representative Lynch coming out and putting forward the Electronic Currency and Secure Hardware Act, also known as the eCash Act. The idea is to create digital dollars, but use many of the same aspects of physical cash in a digital form. If we go ahead and we take a look at what this legislation calls for, what we can see is that first, it directs the Secretary of the Treasury to develop and introduce a form of retail digital dollar called eCash. The whole idea is that it's peer-to-peer, privacy respecting, has no transaction fees, and it's payable to bearer, just like physical cash. It also moves forward and asks to establish an electronic currency innovation program within the US Treasury to test and evaluate different forms of secure hardware-based eCash. And then, as you would expect, it goes on to ask to establish an independent monetary privacy board to oversee and monitor the federal government's efforts to preserve monetary privacy. This is really fascinating because then you get a special purpose ring-fenced Treasury overdraft account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Ultimately, what this legislation is trying to accomplish is it's trying to take all the ideas of physical cash and digitize them. But of course, the first thing that people ask is, why is legislation being put forward to create these digital dollars? Isn't this just what a central bank digital currency does? Well, not necessarily. In the eyes of the legislation, the eCash Act, it would define eCash as being legal tender, a bearer instrument, interoperable, replicating anonymity and privacy-respecting features of physical cash, and it would promote equity and justice. But it's not necessarily a central bank digital currency. They explicitly call out and say eCash is not a central bank digital currency, and it is not in competition with a central bank digital currency either. Now, this opens up an entire Pandora's box. If we go ahead and we take a look at all the various forms of digital cash, what we can see is that there's a lot of them. There's cryptocurrencies, there's stablecoins, there's bank deposits, central bank reserves, CBDCs, Fed accounts or treasuries, and eCash. And what you can see is that ultimately every single person who's interested in this idea has their own way of doing things. The market is going to have to sift through all these ideas. We're going to have to come to a conclusion as to what the consensus for digital dollars will be. eCash is one of many ideas. The central bank digital currency is another idea that's being put forward. Ultimately, I don't know whether it's going to matter or not, because what we have seen is that the current versions of digital dollars and stablecoins, whether we are talking about Tether, USDC, or UST, about $200 billion in the market. The market's doing just fine using them as digital dollars. Hey you, did you like this video? Great, we make 5 of them a day and post them here on this channel. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and see you next time.